Hi, in this video I'm going to extend the project that we did in just a minute ago, and I'm going to allow you to do a right click on any of the buttons and change them into a flag. So you can see I cannot click on the gray buttons anymore. If I right click the gray button, it comes back to where it was before. So this is kind of like getting you ready for Minesweeper using a right click. So let's go take a look at some of the things that we're going to modify in our program. Let's go look at the button model. You can see that I've added a flagged property. Let's go look at the controller for the button controller. You can see that I have a new method called onRightMouseClick or right button click. And then let's go look into the view. In the view you can see that I have a script and I have a little bit different kind of a setup to draw the screen. So let's go through all these changes here step by step. Okay, so I just reversed the changes of the code back to where they were before this video started. So you can see that I can click each button. If I try to right click, I just get a normal right click menu. So that is where our state is right now. So let's go and see if we can step by step go through all the upgrades. Let's begin here with the button model because we have to add a new property. So we have one new property called isFlagged, and we'll make it a Boolean. We'll have to modify the constructor so that way when we create a new button we can say it's flagged or not. Now let's return to the button controller. You'll notice here that the button controller now has an error. Because I just changed the constructor, we need to modify the properties here. So the constructor needs two Booleans now. It needs to have a Boolean for flagged as the second property. So I'll change both of these to false so that nothing is flagged to begin with. I'm also going to move this initiation code into a constructor. So when I choose index, I don't necessarily want to create 25 new buttons every time. So let's cut this out, move it up to a controller constructor. And then we're going to check to see if there are any buttons yet. If there are 0 buttons, then we'll add 25 new ones. Next, let's take a look at the images. So I click on the images folder and you can see that I have an off image and an on image. So let's go do a quick search for flag icons and pick one. So next I'm going to edit the image so that it's a good size. So I'm going to use the Paint program in Windows. You might have Photoshop or something better, but I want to reduce the size. So I'm going to choose 33 pixels wide as the choice and 33 pixels tall. Then I will copy the file over into the folder for the images. So now I want to be able to choose the icon for flagged first. So I'll copy and paste some code here, and I'll make the if statement to have 3 parts now. So the first part to say, is this flagged? If it is flagged, then let's put a flag on it. If it's not flagged, then we can go and check to see if its state is true or false. True means it's on, false means it's turned off. So green for on, red for off. So that should print a flag for some of my buttons. Let's test it out. I'm going to go into the button controller, and after I create all 25 of my new buttons, I'm going to set the first one to be flagged. So it will be set after the loop is done. So button 0 is now flagged. So I'll run the code and see if it works. So when I bring up the web browser and type in button as my path, you can see that the flag is set now for the first button. Now I notice that the flag is a little bit smaller than the other two, so I'm going to use some CSS styling and change the page to say that all images are going to be the same width. So let's set the width to be 50 pixels. And that'll automatically stretch the flag and maybe slightly shrink the buttons. So let's run the program and see what happens. So we run the program and /button is the pathway again, and you can see now that every button on the grid is exactly 50 pixels wide. Now you can see that the behavior for the flag is not quite right yet. I can click a button and I cannot see what color it is because it is flagged. So now we have to do a right click and see if we can do anything to make that happen. So let's do that next. Now in right click we're going to have to use JavaScript, or we'll use the Jquery library to handle a right click and then make a method handler for it. So let's go to the top of our page here and we're going to insert a new link. So now I'm going to insert Jquery as a dependency. So let's open up the scripts folder and you should see jQuery min.js. If you don't have this, you can also include it using your NuGet package manager and download Jquery. It's probably already enabled though. Now I'm going to set up a test to see if the Jquery is working. So the document ready function is what I'm going to do. So this function will wait until all parts of the web page have been loaded into the web browser, and then it will trigger a function, and we'll put alert to see if it actually works. The reason why we need to put this in is because if you just let things load from top to bottom, the Jquery might run before the entire page is there, and so it won't recognize buttons on the page that came after. So you can see that when I run the program and put in the correct path for button, that I get the alert. So the alert message did show up, and we know that Jquery is loaded and the document is ready. Alright, so now we're going to do a number of things to make this right mouse button work. So first of all, I'm going to create an event, a listener for the mouse down button on a specific class of items. So I'm going to have to assign the button class called GameButton to my buttons. Then I'm going to envelop in here a function with an event parameter. And so if we're going to check to see if the right mouse click was happening, then we're going to ask if event.which, which means which button, equals 3. So left mouse is 1, right mouse is 3, and I think the center is 2. Then we're going to console log a message just to see if we can test this out. Also, I have to go down to the buttons and let's find out where they are. Let's add in a class name. So I use the word button or game button, so I'll put that in as the class name. Now back to the top again, I have to prevent a context menu from popping up on this page, or basically prevent the right click as the normal behavior. So I'll do a document.context menu and just return a function that says will always give you a false value. So this should allow us to check to see if our right-click menu is going to work, or a right-click button. This will only work on the buttons. So I'm going to launch the application and see if we can test this correctly. Okay, so I've got my application up and running. Notice if I try to right-click, I get nothing. So I need to open up the developer tools using another way. So let's go to the developer tools menu. And I'm going to switch to console so we can see the messages. So if I right click on something, I now have event 3, right click as my message. So I click any of the buttons and it seems to be working. If I click outside, nothing. So the left click still works, right click on a button gives me an event message. So that seems to work. I'm going to test something else out. I want to know actually which item was triggering this response. So I'm going to console log this. So this is the item that was clicked. Let's see what that does. All right, I got the application up and running. Let's turn on the developer tools again and change the console, and I'm going to right click. So you can see when I click, I get the right click message, and now this is a button. So it tells me that it was button number 4, which apparently is true because it's the 5th button in my list. Now, if I could use this value number, I could probably send my controller a message to say, hey, button 4 was clicked. Actually, button 4 was right-clicked. So let's see if we can get that attribute. So I'm going to, instead of just posting this, I'm going to use the JavaScript get attribute and then put in the word value. Value has to be a string because that's the actual property name. All right, I'm back up and running again. When I right-click on something, I can see now I just get the number 4, gives me the 3, gives me the 2, 1, and 0. So I've got the actual button number in the right click. So that's a good progress. All right, so the next job is for us to send this information to the controller so that we can update the map or update the board. So we can post something to the web server. So there are 3 things that we need to add to this post action. So first of all, we have to give it a URL. The URL is going to be our method and our controller. The second item is a piece of data. And so I'm just going to hard code the number 1 in for this case, but this is going to turn into the button number that was clicked. And then finally there's a callback function. So the function gets a bit of information back from the controller. and it comes in the form of something. We're going to find out what it is. I'll just call it data. And so a good way to find out what that is just put it to the console. And then we'll modify it to see if we can do anything with the data. There are two other things I have to fix before this will actually run. So this here has to be a value. So let's put in a little bit of a JSON object here. So remember, the object that we're expecting to get is a mine. So let's just put in that mine1 is the default value. So we'll hard code it here, but we'll come back and get the actual value in a minute. Also down here you can see that this if statement has an open bracket, and it just kind of has this dangling line down here, so I need to close that. Okay, so now the last thing is, how do we get rid of that 1 and change it into the value of the button? Well, you've already got that up here. So we had this get attribute value, that is the value of the mine. So I'm going to copy that and paste it over the 1. Alright, so it's getting to be kind of a complex looking line here. But if I got all my commas and everything right, we should get some data back. Let's see what happens. Alright, looks like the app is up and running. Let's get rid of this button and press enter. So the button grid displays. Now I'm going to go into the more tools, find the developer tools. We can get the console, and here we go. Let's do a left click, nothing. Let's do a right click. Aha, we got some stuff over here. Let's scroll up and find out what it was. So at the very beginning we got the console message like we did before. Right click, and it was button 4. And then the data. So we printed this thing called data. And it looks to me like the data is an entire web page. So why would we get an entire web page to come back from our controller? Well, do you remember what the controller was designed to do? Let's close this and look at the controller. So I'm going to switch into the button controller and look at what happens. So we called this method called onButtonClick, and it returns a view of the button view. So all of that text was a web page, which really is a button view. And we didn't get any update on the app itself. We just got a console log. So this function here that says I'm expecting to get a bunch of data back, sure enough, we got a console log for data. So now that we see that the data pack that comes back is really the entire web page, we're going to substitute our page contents now with that data. So we're going to take the tag called body. Body is the entire page. And we're going to substitute its HTML value. In other words, the contents of this container. And it should refresh the entire page. Alright, so it looks like the app is up and running. Let's get the right URL. And we have button. Okay, so if I try a left click, it works. Now I'm going to push right click. And it also works. So either button will now change my value. So let's double check to see what's going on inside of the developer tools. So here is the console log. I'm going to clear it out and then right click, and sure enough it's printing the entire web page from top to bottom in the console, and it's also refreshing this page over here. So do a right click and there it is. Now the behavior for right click is still not correct. It's now identical to the left click. So we at least got right click working, but now we can trigger a different method in our controller. So let's check that out next. So let's change this action URL. Right now it's on button click. Let's try this, on right button click. So right button click should be a different method that doesn't exist yet. So let's copy here and go into our button controller and make a new one. So this is the new guide, right button click. There's probably a lot of code that's going to be updated from one to the other, so I'm going to copy and paste and then just change right to here. Okay, so now we have a right button click event. We need to make sure that this does the right thing. So instead of changing the state of a button, we're going to change its flagged property. So if it is flagged, change it to the opposite, or not whatever flagged was. So if it were false, this will be true, or vice versa. Alright, so I got the board printed here, so I'm going to right click now, and sure enough, there's a flag. So if I right click again, the flag disappears. So it looks like flagging is doing its job. Not quite. Let's turn all of the rows here, or the first row, all with red. And then I'm going to flag everybody. Okay, that was right click. Now I'm going to use left click. Let's go a left here and a left here. So what happened behind the scenes? Let's do a right click on everything again. And sure enough, you can see that when things are flagged, they just hide the view. But we can still affect the button with a left click. So there lacks some logic in our game. We can fix that quite easily. So I'm going to add an if statement in the other method here, so the on button click. So I want to check to see if this is flagged, and then negate that. So we're going to ask, is this not flagged? And if it's not flagged, then we will allow the state to change. But if it is flagged, we're just going to ignore it and not do anything. So that would be the else statement that really isn't needed here. But this will prevent the button from being changed if there's a flag on it. Let's check it out and see if it works. So it looks like I got the app up and running again. Let's change everybody to red. Let's see. Okay, so the first row is all red. Remember that? I'm going to flag everybody. And now I'm going to click the first, third, and fifth. So 1, 3, and 5 should be green. Let's do a right click. Aha, it stayed red. So the flag protects the button from being changed. I can still change it if it's not flagged. If I put a flag on it and then try to click it left, it's still going to be green. So the flag is doing its job. So just like we're expecting in Minesweeper, you can't modify a button if it has a flag on it. All right, so that brings us to an actual working game where we can change the button values and we can plant flags on them using a right mouse button. So a little bit of JavaScript, a lot of thinking about how the DOM is, or the web page is designed, and we got ourselves something working here. Now the next part that I'm going to show you is how to set a save game button on here. So save the state so that way you can come back to a game later, and that'll be coming up in the next video.